right, y'all. We're gonna do the TCR regular car mod this time. Turn it into a slot car. Make it do like it'll come out like that when we're done. You saw me running this one yesterday on the test track. But before I get into that, just wanted to mention, sometimes you can still find these tune-up kits for the extreme racing ones. Now that back axle is same, it fits in 440, 440X2, and they're the same pickups. Comes with one full set of tires, although I haven't used the front ones much, but they may fit several different Tyco vehicles or other ones. But they have silicone rear tires, which is cool, and they come with, I think this is a set of regular, they may be silicone too. I'm not going to open this one. They come with these useless like monorail looking guides if you had that type of track in those cars. But used to be you could find these dirt cheap. Now I had bought a box of 12 of them years and years ago, and I believe I got these 12 off of eBay for 40 bucks shipped. And it was so long ago, I couldn't remember, I couldn't find a date on this shipping label, but I looked at it, and oddly, it's from a fella called Brian Young, Wayne, Ohio. Y'all know him as Pro Tinker Toys. So this is before he was doing his YouTube thing, or he might have just started out. So it's greater than, oh my goodness, maybe 10 years, 10, 12 years ago when I bought these. And I need to go hunt for some more because I'm down to 3. These are the last 3 that I have. So they do come in handy when you want to put silicone tires for cheap on, I mean, I don't know. I never bought any aftermarket silicone tires, but I've always had plenty of these. So when I'm rebuilding a 440 or 440X2, I usually use these pickups. They don't have any springs in them. I don't know why that is, but they do have good variety of tires in there, and that good rear axle, if that's worth it for you. But so we'll talk about the TCR chassis first. That's what it looks like on the bottom side normally. You have 2 pickups, right? And you may have 2 on that side, or you won't have 2 on this side because they're common. But it will either pick up from the far rail in the center or the 2 outside rails, right? That's how they make it where 2 different people can control the steering on their car, you know, based on where the pickups is, an A and a B car, right? Now they can be converted by moving that. But I gave up on TCRs long ago. So they have on the back here what I call a rear end differential transmission. So it doesn't matter which way that motor's spinning, the wheels will continue to turn forward, right? And they feel like they're freewheeling, but and they'll coast once you let off the gas. They don't have any kind of braking action on them. And when you look at the wheels come in, I think the variety I have is silver, red, and yellow. There may have been some blue ones, but I don't have any. They're wide pan. Well, this variety is wide pan. There are some narrow pan ones, and they're the wide pan short wheelbase. So you can't put them on the wide pan long wheelbase vehicles without an extreme modification, and I don't think there's enough room to do that because that'd put the axle out near the end of those pickups, but I might look into that later on. But if you look on the top side here, right, you'll see how that wheel action is. That's how they change left and right. They reverse, you hit a button, you reverse that motor, and that little gear sprocket goes across that tie rod arm, right? And makes it go the other way. Now, when they're in the lane they're on, the wheels are not symmetrical. They tend to have a toe out, like there's toe in, toe out on a vehicle, right? And typically I would want, depends on the vehicle, but this one, so when this wheel is square, the other one you'll see is still pointing to the right. So that would be when you're in the right lane, it would be tilted that way. And it rubs this bumper right up against the plastic railing, right? So that it spends its whole time running along the side until you switch it, and then it'll switch over to the other lane and rub on the other side. The jam cars had a little wire in them that keep it in whatever lane it's in, and it don't care about the direction either. So when you switch the power on the track rails, it carries on going forward as well, but it does it with a bridge rectifier. It doesn't have that transmission in it. It's a worm gear drive, which makes it much slower. These things are pretty quick, but the pickups are a little fussy. I see a lot of them that are missing the spring, and people just bent them up so that the tang, the length of the pickup, is the spring. But that's not good, especially if you're going to do a slot car, because it'll make the front wheels be popped up out of the track. So now what I'm going to do is deconstruct this, and then we're going to start modifying. And the first thing I usually do is I pull the wheels off, right? So there's one wheel pulled off. They just snap out, and you'll see they're on a little hub with a knuckle that connects to that tie rod end. Now that tie rod end, we don't need it, so we're just going to take that off. So you don't have to take that wheel off, right? And then now that tie rod end, that tie rod is gone, and this is the area where we're going to cut the center hole. But the next thing I do is take off the pickup shoes. Now when you take these pickup shoes off, there's a tiny little spring right there, and it is a royal pain to find if it goes sailing, so you don't want to lose it. So I'll just do it right here. Just push the thing up, and then you'll get it past the little hook. And once you get it out, like I said, that little spring is right there. That thing is so tiny, you can barely see it. I picked it up with the X-Acto blade. I'm gonna put it over here where I won't lose it. I still may lose it, but better chances. And there's a pickup, right? Now, it used to be you could get these TCR cars dirt cheap years and years ago. I don't know what the current market is on them. I haven't looked for any since I have plenty. I bought a bunch with some TCR track long ago, and I didn't really care for the TCR track. It was very fussy. All right, I dropped that spring right where I wanted it. So now we got the pickups off, and you'll see those little pockets where the spring is. So your first idea will be, well, hey, why don't I just glue that spring in there with a little bit of super glue to keep it from falling out while I put the pickups on. Well, that didn't work for me. I tried it, and the glue, even though I used a gel form of it, I could have probably tried thin super glue, and just, you would have to have a micro thin layer, because what happened was that glue got in between a couple of the windings on the spring and cut its spring tension way down. Wouldn't let my pickups go free anymore. So it's not worth bothering. You just have to deal with the pain of putting the spring in there, keeping the car balanced, and then putting your pickup on. Once you get it on there, they're pretty reliable. Well, like I said, here's our target area here. Here's where we're going to drill our little hole, and then we're going to make it the right size, right? Using the pin vices like I did last time. But before we get there, we have a little problem to address here. Number one, I need to get rid of this gear, and I'll do that right now. That are the little gear on the, you see it's got a real long shaft on the motor, and it looks very interesting, but only thing I could think of that would be useful for would be to couple it to something to do the dyno, like Blue Oval said I should do a dyno. Well, I built a dyno a long time ago when I was a kid, and all you did was just put a roller on here, used a little Hot Wheel toy, and then run some wires to a voltmeter, and it generates voltage backwards. But it was actually easier to use a can motor in a box, and that's what I used, not a long shaft like that. But that could be interesting to do something with. I might revisit that one day. But for today, we'll just stay focused on. So what I like to do next is I take a Dremel and I sever that shaft right about there. I don't want to damage the hub retainers, the wheel hub retainer, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the, I'll pop the other wheel hub out. So if you can clearly see, right there is where I'm going to trim with the cutoff tool on the Dremel, because you need it to be out of the way for where the new pin is. Now the new pin, once you slide it in, I'm sure it will clear that. So you could probably skip that step. But if you're going to do this step, you want to do it before, because next we're going to glue them hubs in, right? So, and then your wheels will be there, and the little tie rod nub that we're going to glue to. So if you're going to get rid of this, now is the time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick. All right. No precision involved, just get close. Be careful. You get sparks, you know you're on it. And there she went. So, be quite honest, I got a little close to those hub retainers, but I still see the notches, right? So you can see where I deformed that plastic a little bit, but them hubs will snap in still. But now if you look at, this is a good time too, see right here where the center, what we call it, pickup hanger is. Might as well go ahead, see those ridges where that tie rod end went. I want to clean those out so that area is all flat for so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get rid of some of this mess. And About time to change my X-Acto knife blade, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. So we'll just whittle some of that away. Go ahead and get rid of that hanger pin. The center one, don't cut the other two, we still need those. Don't ask me how I know. But, you know, we all have to learn through some pain. That's the only way humans learn. Get you a little pain and then you won't do that no more. So, got me enough flat area there where my target hole is gonna be. You see, I kind of flattened it out. There's some still left there, but that's enough because I can clean it after I got the hole drilled out and know exactly where I don't need to be. So the next part is we'll go ahead and drill that pilot hole using the pin vise, a tiny one, and the drill bit. These are the ones that I sized up for a Tyco pin, and that's what I'm using. I'm using a pin from a HP 7. So this side, I'll just say it needs to be right about there. And just line it up between what's left of that axle shaft and that center pin. You don't need to be a whole long way back, probably about the center of where that tie rod used to slide back and forth. But as close to center between the pin and the axle is probably going to be best for zooming down the track good. I think I'm already through. So there we go. We'll just don't put a lot of pressure, right? Because as soon as it goes through, it's pretty high speed. So you can see we have a pilot hole. And now we got that pilot hole, I need to go to the second pin vise. Go the same direction. And don't crank on it, because that plastic is pretty soft. It's not brittle, so it's not, but you see that bite on that drill bit just wants to go right up on in there. So it's not really cleaning the hole out good. So we'll go from the other direction. So we will. And there we go. Then I just pulled back on it. And that cleans the burr off the hole. So now we got the guide pin hole. And you see where I took that shaft part off. Now, like I said, the pin may very well clear it, but if you were using an AFX one and you had the flag on the top side, then it would interfere, right? But if you had the flag on the bottom side, you'd be all right. You could clip off that plastic pin. So there is some variation on what you can do. So now what we're going to do just like we did on the jam car. I'm working backwards here with my knife. But we're gonna put the back of the X-Acto in the bottom of the hole, and then we're not gonna go too far to either side. We're gonna cut some material and head towards them two spars and make a keyhole, right? So on this, don't get too aggressive, because I don't really want to bust them two spars, although you could take that whole front bumper thing off if you want. I have trimmed them off before, but they give you a little extra protection in a crash. So with two slices, that already looks quite good to me. So it's got a keyhole appearance. I just need to clean off some of that fuzzy right there, hanging out on the edge of the hole. And then I'll clean it a little bit on the top side. So that looks pretty smooth. I'll see a little bit of that railing left back in here. Get rid of that. Ain't enough of it to interfere with the pin, I don't think. So at this point, our pin should fit. My goodness. I will need a screwdriver or something. Press that down. Alright, so I'll try a tiny little screwdriver here. Could use a pair of needle nose, but I have bent those guide pins before using needle noses. It snapped down in there. Man, that looks like factory. Might be Chinese factory, but it's still factory. So the pin is good to go. Now we got to glue our wheel hubs back on, right? So I'm gonna pop a, before we do that, I like to use a little bit of cotton on either one because it gives the super glue somewhere to go. You don't want it running back in the back, right? Because the back of these wheel hubs is hollow, so you wouldn't want your, well, I guess you'd probably be safe even if some wick down on the back side because it's retained on with a rivet. So as long as none gets in the rivet area, the wheel will spin free. So, but that's our main target, is that we don't obstruct the rolling of the wheel. And you just pop your, there's two notches there, you just pop your wheel back on, and I've done it upside down. So one of the pins on there is thicker than the other. It's hard to see, but I believe the thinner one goes on top, which means I put it on the wrong side. So you'll know if it goes in too easy and it feels loose. Yeah, that one's right. So be aware that there is a left and right wheel hub, kind of unlike most vehicles. Now, most of them are universal. They'll put a knuckle on both sides sometimes. But, so what you see is we got the two wheels just a flopping around. So what I'm gonna do now is at the base of that knuckle where it joined on, you could chop up that crossbar and reattach the short piece in there, but that's a little extra effort. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold the wheel where I want. I'm gonna stuff some, I'll put a little bit of super glue in there, get it on both pieces, and then I'm gonna shove that cotton ball material in there and then put some glue on top. And that will, that will harden, that will, the cotton ball tends to accelerate the drying too, right? You don't need a whole bunch. That looks pretty good right there, tiny bit. So what I'm gonna do, while I'm at it, get this little bit of cotton off of here. Use the end of your cotton ball stick. to push that cotton in there. So, well, I'll use a fresh bottle of my favorite. And I got some Instaset accelerator for CA, whatever that stands for. But CA is what super glue is. It's the chemical name for it, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it for y'all. So, ain't no need to be laughing at me right now. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of that glue in there. We got some. All right, we got some glue in there. Now, put that cotton ball in there. Try to keep your finger away from the cotton ball and the glue, because apparently it's more fond of your finger than the plastic. Right? So now you see it's kind of a little bit tacky. I can still move the wheel a little bit. Not much. I'm already getting resistance. So I want to keep the wheel kind of square. If you're a little off, it'll be all right. But then put a little bit more. Whoa, I got a little over-motivated. But if you're using the gel version, it doesn't flow everywhere like that. I'll squirt a little bit of that accelerator on there. Woo! That gives it an interesting smell. So if you're getting tired of the flavor of your beer, drink while you're doing this, and those fumes will make your beer taste different. Maybe not better, but definitely different. So that one has set up pretty good already. You can always come back later and put more on there if you need to. Or if you have a malfunction on the track, you can quickly remedy that. So now I need to get me another piece of cotton for the driver's side. That ought to do. Get my glue. That's the thing with this one though, this gel glue, you want to put that lid back on, tap it a few times, get it right there at the front. But when you store it, don't store it with the bottle laying on its side. I have had to free up just a little bit. All you need. I do lay it on its side when I'm fixing to use it again though. Put the cotton ball in there. Oh, got a little of that glue on my fingers. Whoop it around right in there. That's right. That's already getting motivated to be set. All right. So, try to keep my wheel where I need it. And I wasn't fully snapped in too. Make sure you're snapped in, or else you're going to be doing bank turns whether you want to or not. So now I'll put a little of that glue on the top. Try to keep your wheel square. Ooh, that's going to get motivated. Try to stay away from your pickup pin. I'm a little close and I don't like that, but a little accelerator on there, although it feels like it's set. Yeah, that accelerator's got like a Christmas smell, pine trees or something. That is not a foreign smell in my neck of the woods. So, there you go. You can see them cotton ball blobs are there. Later we can come and trim. Man, that's already hardened up. May not have to trim, but this is what I was talking about. Let me put the lid on my glue. This is what I was talking about right here. Don't want, there's a little bitty hook on the end of your pickup retainers. See it right there, in there, right? So you don't want that cotton all in that channel. I could have got away with a little bit less cotton in there, but it'll give you good strength because the cotton ball is between the knuckle that went to the cross member, the tie rod, and the plastic. So we got enough glue on there, right? A liberal amount. That little inside joke there. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. But so now that that's set up, we're in good shape. We're pretty much done. We just got to put those, got to put our pickups back on, which I'll need my magnifier. Y'all need one of these if you're working on tiny crap and you're old. But what I need to do is pick up a spring, the edge of the X-Acto knife, set it in the pocket. Uh-oh. My hands are a little shaky. I probably don't have enough coffee in me this morning. We'll try it again. There it is. It's kind of sitting where we want it. And you want the longer, it's shaped like a T, but one side is a little longer, and you want that outboard. I'll explain. Maybe people know about outboard, but us Army folks have that comprehension issue with that term sometimes. So, gotta hook in. Oh, man, I done knocked the spring over again. See if I can tilt it up. This is what I was talking about. It's a little bit aggravating, y'all. Just gotta have some patience. See if I can come at a better angle. Get the pickup shoe. If anybody's got a tip on that, there we go. I think we're there, y'all. So, got that little pain in the butt on there. You see it working? It's okay. Doesn't seem to be pissed off at them cotton area. So that's looking all right. Get my other spring. Like I said. All right, this one's probably going to be just as painful. Get this. You're going to tilt way back on that. Looky there. Good old boy got lucky that time. Now, so this is what I was talking about. There's a longer piece on the edge of one side of the pickup. Put that outboard towards the wheel. It may work the other way, but it also may make contact with a metal center, guide pin. So these little chassis, they run pretty good. So now we're at the point where we can put some wheels on. And just another quick note. So I said there was a narrow chassis, right? This is a wide body. Here's what the narrow chassis looks like, right? Now this came on some cars that I bought. I've got several of these where you bought the bodies. I think it was from a fella in Singapore. It's years ago, but he's still selling on eBay. His price is a little higher now. But this one, you can see they hacked up. Shamefully, they took off the front. So this is not usable to turn into a slot car without getting very creative on the pickups. But they just, looks like they glued it or plastic weld the crossbar. But the wheels, I can still use those, and the rear axle, the indifferential rear axle, right? So, but this, right now, I'm just going to take the tires off. And I'll just say something, them little bitty narrow front tires they got on them, they work good on an AFX factory front, the Magna Traction or the flamethrower chassis. Depending on the wheel that's on there, some of them will only take a O-ring, but these are nice and thin, and they do fit on those. When I put silicone wheels on the car, I know a lot of people put silicones all the way around, and I'm not dogging on anybody or anything, but if the front ones are okay, I don't really see the need. I do know that silicone tires attract dirt from the track more often, so you got to clean them quite a bit, which if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But they seem to vacuum up the dust off the track, I'll put it that way. But these could probably benefit well from silicone tires. I haven't tried any on there. Those will, I might trim up some of them other ones to get an idea. So now at this point, you could run it on the track, right? And spinning that back wheel assembly don't do nothing for you. It just, don't turn it backwards though, because you'll be fighting against the gear shaft assembly. So they freewheel forward. That's that coasting action that G-Bud was talking about. But if you turn the armature, you'll see that it picks up one or the other gear and rotates the wheels forward. So here, that's the chassis all done. And like I said, it'll fit the wide body short ones. And this is the extra one I got, and I'm going to use it. But just wanted to mention something else too. I have a couple of these Haveline ones, and over the Valvoline ones, not the Haveline. The Haveline plastic has never turned color. The white stuff on, they made these out of, seems like, well, I got two of them and they're both gone nasty like that. And they live in a plastic box in a Foot Locker most of the time. Don't know what's going on with that. Y'all know anything? I've seen where people whiten stuff up, but I don't know if it's worth that kind of effort. I have seen them in good shape, brand new in the pack, but I'm reluctant to buy another one. Maybe a used body that isn't yellow, I'll get another one or two of, but y'all got any clues on why that happens? I don't think it's a UV thing, because like I said, it's kept in the dark most of the time. But just put your chassis on, and I could add a light to this one. I got a clear lens in there, and if you wanted to add a light, it'd be pretty easy. There's some little metal tabs right there that you could solder to. won't be a whole lot of fun, but if you solder a bunch, you could do it. And I got some of them jam car ones I need to add lights to, so because most of the truck chassis have light bezels. Look at that. I was way off. Man, I missed the whole little notch thing. I missed it again. And they fit pretty nice on there once you got it right. So, there's our car all done with an extended front bumper. Now you can trim that off if you want, but I'm not gonna fool with it. That'll just help it in a wreck. Can't really tell when it's on the, use the red wheels on this one because it had the red stripe. This is just gonna be a runner. I'll test it out later. All right, you got any questions? I got answers. They might not be the answer you're looking for, but I got them. All right, take it easy.